No, I'm gonna share it with you tomorrow.
Welcome to the November 20th meeting of the Board of Education for Coventry Local Schools. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Is there a motion to call the meeting to order?
So moved.
Mr. Davis,
Here.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler,
Here.
Mrs. Pat,
Yes.
and Mrs. McGraw.
Yes. Stand and pledge. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to adopt the meeting agenda?
So moved. Second.
Yeah.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler,
Yes.
Mrs. Pat,
Yes.
and Mrs. McGraw.
Yes. There, we have, board meetings, approval of minutes for two different board meetings. So can we do both at the same time? Should we do them differently?
I missed the October. Yeah.
Yeah, October regular meeting, you missed that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll separate those.
Is there approval of, the October 16th meeting?
Yes, I moved to adopt those.
Both of them. We'll do them separately though, right?
Yes.
I'll second that.
I'm sorry, was that Chris who?
Yes, for the regular meeting, yes. That was the one you weren't, Josh, right? Correct.
And Carrie. Carrie second.
Terry second? Okay, call the roll. Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler,
Abstain.
Mrs. Pat,
Yes.
and Mrs. McGraw.
Yes. Is there approval of the minutes for the work session on November 12th?
So moved. Second.
Read them.
Okay, Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler,
Yes.
Mrs. Pat,
Yes.
and Mrs. McGraw.
Yes.
Can I just say to you, I just want to thank you again, Lisa. I know this, but just for doing the minutes so quickly. I know you've been doing it for a while, but it's like so different. All it was for effort. It's just nice.
That's good.
Anyways, thank you for your.
Thank you.
Okay, district updates.
This month, we have Coventry Middle School for our spotlight. So Ms. Norris and Mr. Johnson are here.
Good evening, I see all of you. Fun fact about the picture you see here, this actually was taken this fall, like right after one of our football games. Amanda Wood took this picture, but there was also a video that went with it that was posted on the Coventry Commons Facebook page. It was shared 19,400 times. This post went viral. And it had more than 61,000 reactions to the video and more than 5,500 comments on the post from that, just from posting like a video of a rainbow over the middle school, as crazy as that is.
The double rainbow.
Yeah, double rainbow, correct. So, and I mean, with the leaves in the background and all that stuff, it's a great picture, but the video went viral, so they had to make that the cover photo for that. It's awesome. But in the presentation tonight, I do want to point out that, you know, we chose some activities to highlight from the middle school that definitely show our focus that we placed on intentionally on teaching journey of a common traits We really had put a focus on communicating to the kids that we are intentionally teaching them things that go along with our journey of a common. So very excited to share all those things with you. And there are a few things in here that also align with the strategic plan and, you know, building community partnerships and relationships as well. So very excited about those things.
Our first day of school, we decided since they had Summer Olympics to go with a Olympic theme to welcome the kids back to school. So all the teachers, like different grade levels, and so the special teachers, got to pick a sport. We did swimming, there was kayaking, there was equestrian, we had Mrs. Suki carried in and a kayak, and all the teachers were announced. We had all the students go to the gym, sit in the stands. We our guiding stars, those are our eighth graders that are leaders in our building. They got to carry out a torch and they got to light a fire. All the grades, all the teachers for different grade levels were announced. The kids got to cheer. We had a competition there where the students had to do some problem solving where they had to, you know, they had to flip a cup, they had to play tic-tac-toe. Just a great way to kickstart the school year, welcome the kids back to enjoy the school year. And what the goal is trying to do there is our fifth grade, one of the big topics is particles, you know, the solid, liquid and gases. And what they're doing is they're trying to act like they're solid, so they have to get real close together, and then they move back and forth, and then it moves on into the liquid where they're more spread out in the gases. Part of the fifth grade standards. The fifth grade coming to the middle school, they're doing a great job. You know, they're out there the mods, so they're still kind of separate, but they're doing a really nice job adjusting well to the middle school. They're making musical instruments where they get to use their creativity, just a very well, just adjusting very well to the school. So very, very pleased with our fifth graders.
One thing about that fifth grade where they made their own instruments, they also did a collaboration with the music department. They took all of the sixth grade science kids and they went to the band room, and the band students and Mr. Hadges did some demonstrations about pitch and, you know, the different things that, you know, like how sound works. And so they were able to demonstrate that with their instruments. So they took the fifth grade kids to the band room, and then the band kids were able to demonstrate that for them, which was super cool as well. Again, just a great way to get like the older kids working with those younger kids, and, you know, just, you know, and curriculum based, which was even better. We are in year 2 of the ROCKS program, the Ruling Our Experience, that Ms. Rittenauer is conducting, and she's doing that with Mrs. Gowder this year. We have 12 sixth grade girls that are going through that process. And really it's just teaching them, you know, some great things about, you know, how to manage peer conflict, how to manage stress, how to, you know, deal with social media, you know, different pressures that kids have. And, you know, we had a targeted group of students that they're working with and walking through that program in year 2, which is great. In addition, we have our 5th grade kids and our 8th grade kids working with Child Guidance and Family Solution. The 5th grade students are working have 5 social emotional lessons in addition to 5, you know, lessons about the dangers of drugs. Also, that goes along with our DARE program, but this is separate, it's a separate program. And 8th grade is just doing the drug prevention lessons. I actually sat in on one of those at Mr. Murray's room yesterday. One of the things we were very proud of from this fall, and certainly it goes along with our Journey of a Comet, and we talked when we developed Journey of a Comet in this room about how difficult it is to teach empathy to kids. And, you know, how difficult it is to teach, you know, putting yourself in someone else's shoes and trying to figure out how they feel. And Hurricane Helene offered us this really great opportunity to help kids to understand that they can impact the world around them other than just their little bubble here that they know. And if they don't have money to go out and buy supplies, they can help at school by helping sort those supplies or unload supplies from someone's car or load a truck that, you know, we're taking downtown to put those things. In 48 hours, he packed to the gills 3 pickup trucks full of supplies to take to downtown Akron that ended up in North Carolina. From the time we put it out on our Remind feed and social media to the time we went downtown was 48 hours. And so we ended up with a lot of things. And again, you know, what a great way to teach kids the concept of empathy. You know, you can, some people, you know, like I said, don't have the money to go buy supplies, but they can do something. You know, everyone can do something. And so it was just a great opportunity to help kids learn that concept. So we are very proud of it on the right. We built Mr. Headley's truck, Mr. Pierce's truck, and Mr. Johnson's truck, and then Spur's student council advisor and Mr. R. Smith, who took kids down. He transported those kids downtown. And not only did they unload our trucks, but those kids helped unload complete strangers' trucks down there. So, you know, it was very hot that day, but we put them to work and they did so with a smile on their face, and we were super proud of them. And again, what a great way to teach empathy to kids.
People saw those boys and said, hey, bring them over my way. We used to work trucks on one. Okay, 6th grade star students, bunch of them real familiar. They're doing a really nice job. They're in the building now. We have like a 6th grade hallway, right when you first walk in that door. This group shows good signs of responsibility. They're adjusting well, going to classes. You know, what I've seen in the lunchroom. You know, this is a group that we don't have to say anything to. They get up out of seats, they go grab the room, they sweep the floors, they play well together, we're taking the intramurals. So not only are they doing well in the classrooms, we're doing well in the whole group. So they're doing a really nice job. This year, around Halloween, the 6th grade took a visit to Camp Wainoa for an overnight stay. During this visit, they had the ropes course, climbed the tower. They went kayaking or actually canoeing. The PTA purchased pumpkins for the kids. They got to use their creativity and paint them. So overall, it was a great experience. Camp Wainoa has a lot of great things to offer. So this was a great opportunity for the kids to get together and to learn outside of school. And I think they really did enjoy it. It'd be something that I would definitely like to explore even further because of the enjoyment these kids had. And again, 6th grade science, and Mr. Schrader's class, there, guys, 2nd, 5th grade, just goes to show you some of the experiences that these kids get to see where it's not just learning from a textbook. These kids are learning hands-on. They're getting into the education and they're really enjoying it. So they're gonna show.
6th grade rowed the boat. So at the beginning of the year, Mrs. Ragland introduced the 6th grade kids to one of John Gordon's books, Row the Boat. Basically, the concept of row the boat is that no matter what life throws at you, just keep going. So again, going with Journey of a Comet and that concept of perseverance, like teaching kids that yes, something might be really yucky now, but if you just keep going, it's going to get better. You know, keep trying, don't give up. Mrs. Ragland went as far as to have them design oars, and then they put the things that were important to them inside the oar, reasons to just keep going. Then we have it posted in the hallway in the front hall. She actually took a picture of that and sent it to John Gordon in an email, and John Gordon answered her. And it was like, what a great thing that you did. And, you know, thank you for using my book to teach this lesson to kids. And so she actually heard back from the author of the book, which we thought was super cool. Insofar as collaboration goes, Mr. Johnson shared that our PTA, went to camp, that they purchased pumpkins for Camp Wainoa. They actually also went to Camp Wainoa and decorated the lodge there and had like a Halloween party for the kids the night they were there and gave candy and, did all kinds of cool things. They've been in and they did, cotton candy for our honor roll kids. They gave cotton candy to our honor roll kids. And then they did like success in a treat where they did like a trick or treat with middle school kids during the school day. And they decorated the comic corner, like each group took like a table and decorated a table and that had the kids come through. So it's kind of like our version of trick or treat, but it's just with middle school kids. And it's just a great way to involve parents. I think that day we had like 16 parents in. Which was really nice. So we have an active group of parents that would, we put that call out like, hey, we need your help in middle school. They show up. They show up and it's really nice to have that. So again, just a great collaboration with our community.
We had a successful football season this year. We asked the kids, they said they want 5-3. they were for 3 round count scrimmages as victories, but they did a nice job. They did overcame some perseverance, so they had some losses early, but came together, and the group of kids, especially the 8th graders that are coming into high school, we expect some really good things coming from them. They have some great leadership qualities, good group of kids. So glad to see that they had a successful season.
Middle school volleyball, we've been.
Yeah.
Sorry. Middle school volleyball, they were learning a lot. They ended up, our 8th grade girls went to semifinals. And were knocked out in the semifinals and the tournaments, but they're definitely learning. Came together as a team, and they're just really great kids. Like, these really good girls, and we have 2 very young coaches, Ms. Land, who's now Mrs. Hannaford, and Ms. Smith, who take our volleyball teams, and they're doing a great job with those girls. Cross country, if you look up in the top left-hand corner, that is Owen Eater. Remember that name, write it down. That's going to be a name that you are going to hear a whole bunch. That is a super successful young man, not just in cross country, but he has a great academic mind, that kid, and just an excellent leader. Also, actively involved in our band. But Owen broke the school record in cross country, and then broke it 3 more times. So, his PR was the school record, and he kept chasing it. It took him a while. I went to the cross country meet that they had at the lake down at the state park. He missed it by 1 second. I'm like, I couldn't have gotten it when I was there. But the very next meet, he broke that school record. And like I said, he then broke it 3 more times. So, but then he went to the state invitational cross country meet and placed 4th. So he's a kid that you're going to want to pay attention to, because he's coming. So he's gonna be super successful.
With all the success we had a fall sports assembly in the gym. All the kids were in the gym, and we acknowledged all the sports. We had a team problem solving competition where the grade levels had to stack cups, and they were given a certain amount of cups, and they had to stack them, and then they had to pull them all back down. And whoever did it first won, get to move on to the tournament. I think the 8th graders were just master and have it figured out, but actually it was the 6th graders that did the best and had it figured out. It worked very well. But not only do we acknowledge all the athletes this fall, we also acknowledge students who got perfect scores on the OST scores last year, which that's a great accomplishment in itself right there. Yeah, that's great. Okay, student council, I was in track or treat. For all that was a good time, great way to bring the community together. Other school districts don't do this. This is something that I've never even heard of. Where you bring that many kids and that much involvement in the community for a night. So definitely a great purpose. Our student council led by Mrs. Lucy and Mrs. Burns brought kids out, dressed up, had a great time. So thank you for doing that. For 7th grade students, 7th graders, they're now upstairs in our building. So they've also adjusted very well being up there. It's finally like a grown-up spot. This is up there, so they get a little bit more freedom in the school where they're not only upstairs, but they can come downstairs and some special classes in the gym, cafeteria. Good group of students, just continue to do very well. So very good things for them. This is what Mr. Smith does in his social studies class. They create posters on athletes as far as then they let the kids vote which one's the greatest one. Teachers take part, they get to vote. I think there is a different ruling. Teachers count so many votes, the kids count so many votes, to kind of even out the scoring. But it's fun. The kids really enjoy it. We have a glass window upstairs where they post them on there, and all the kids sit there where the voting box is, and they go there throughout the day and vote. And, really get to take part and enjoy other classmates' work.
So the Coventry Schools Foundation gave Mr. Dudley a grant to purchase trail cams for the boardwalk that's back behind the building. Mrs. Blau actually sent me a picture, actually 3 pictures of a coyote, like in the morning. It was like 8:30 in the morning, and it was just kind of like in the side yard. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And then when Mr. Dudley put the trail cams up, as you can see on the bottom right down there, there's Mr. Coyote on the boardwalk itself. And we've got a nice buck up in the top right-hand corner. We actually have video of a buck walking on the boardwalk. Like, and we've captured fox, and we've got some great stuff going on back there. So, I could tell you, I'm fascinated by the Google Drive that he shared that has all the pictures in there. I look at it every day. I get so excited about it because it's such a cool thing to share with kids. And so, but there are 6 trail cams back there that they are using to track some data, which takes us to the next piece, which is citizen science. And they are using citizen science sites to report what we're finding with the trail cams. So like the Ohio Department of Natural Resources is involved in what we're doing. So we are, again, teaching them about the community that's broader than just them. And so, we're informing the Ohio Department of Natural Resources about what biodiversity is at our building. So it's super cool. So, we didn't get an eagle yet this year, but we're waiting. So, it's coming at some point. So, but again, helping students understand that the world is just bigger than, our own little spot here, which is super cool. So in addition, the 7th grade went to the Drexel Nature Center, and again, just exploring the biodiversity and, making connections between what they're learning in the classroom and the broader world. Sometimes the things you see in textbooks are so hard to, to put your fingers on until you get out and get the opportunity to experience it. So they had a great trip and a great time.
As part of our career readiness, our 8th grade students had a chance to go to the PLCC. Career readiness is something that's already been out there, but obviously with the police legislation now, it's coming more down the pipeline. It's going to be even moved down at the even younger ages, so getting ready for careers. But the kids did enjoy it. They have the well, bed metal. Some of them came back to cook cupcakes, so they were very excited when they came back to school. So I definitely think this is going to be a great opportunity for a lot of our students. But we're fortunate that we have some very close. We had a veterans assembly headed by our 8th grade social studies teacher, John Murray. Our students got to display artwork that they created. They created banners. They read poems. We had showed a couple videos. We had in total, there was 26 veterans. This was student plan. I mean, Mr. Murray was the background behind it, the PowerPoint, everything that was created was done by the 8th graders. They did a really nice job. And then 8th grade science, again, goes to show you that these kids they're hands-on. There's learning being done, not just by textbooks. They're not just doing that rote memorization stuff. They're actually going out, they're doing real-time data, they're collecting information and learning hands-on, that's what kids learn the best.
So the next thing we're going to tell you about is something that you're going to see now, and then the next board spotlight that we have, you're going to get to see the finished product. So now you're kind of getting it at the ground level, and then the next opportunity you're going to see, it's going to be like a finished product. So Mr. Baylog and Mrs. Harrison. So if you don't know, Mrs. Harrison has a cross grade level classroom, and she teaches some of our most challenged students. And Mr. Baylog, obviously our choir director. And so they have partnered together to combine music with what they're doing in the core classroom to teach kids in a creative way that will maybe help them remember a little bit better than some of the things that they've already tried. And so it's trying to connect those content areas. And so they're using boom whackers. If you don't know what a boom whacker is, you're about to see what a boom whacker is. And they're using boom whackers, and they're creating patterns with the boom whackers, and the music that they're making with the boom whackers, they're then making up a story to go with the music that they're doing. So it's going to be a cross-discipline project when it's finished. And so we have kind of the beginning portions of it. So they're connecting math and literacy with music, which is so cool. Okay, so if you saw Sadie there, who had, I think it was C, when it wasn't her turn to hit the boom whacker, she was using her other hand to like what the other kids were doing. So they're obviously collaborating, super creative. My favorite part about this project is the next piece. Next slide. Where, when they designed this project, they took Journey of a Comet and they made a component for each trait in Journey of a Comet to go with the project, which is so cool. So like I said, you guys are gonna get to see the finished project later, so we wanted to show you this at the like ground level. As you can see, they're musical notation, writing a story, they're learning about math and music, which is what you saw with the counting. And so, you know, not just counting like numbers, but counting with their, you know, like place value and resting for music, which is so cool. And then they're gonna play the storyboard, and then they're gonna write their own Fantasia scene. So, and when they're doing art with it too, which is another piece of it. So they have tied everything from Journey of a Comet into this project, which is absolutely amazing. And I can't wait to see the finished project. I'm super excited about it. I got to go see them do a little bit of it live the other day. So super, super cool. As you can tell, I'm super excited about it. So, like I said, this tying into Journey of a Comet might be my favorite piece. Because it's so, like I said, we are intentionally doing that with multiple things this year. That's one of the things that we've asked them to do, is make sure that they're tying things to Journey of a Comet and implicitly telling the children. So, for example. So we have some upcoming events. We have choir concert that's here at the high school at 6:30 on the 26th. Staff versus student volleyball, that's next week. We're gonna have an assembly right before Thanksgiving, doing the staff versus volleyball, and then whoever wins the turkey trot that the PTA is doing, they get to do their turkey costumes through the assembly, so we're excited about that. We're secretly hoping that Mr. Burley wins because, you know, Mr. Burley's retiring this year, and I would very much like to see Mr. Burley. And then a band concert December 12th. The holiday performance where we get to see the high school come down and perform for the middle school kids. That's December 13th, which is the Friday, so it's not right before break. So normally we used to do like the last day before break. It's thought that to be a problem with like high school finals and some of those kind of things. So we moved it to December 13th. So they'll be at the elementary in the afternoon. I want to say at like 1 o'clock. They'll be at the elementary and then at our building at 5:00. So there you are. That's where we are. Questions? Answer for you? You've been busy.
Busy. Can you guys send us the link to see the trail cams?
I can ask Mr. Dudley.
Can
I
you
can
just
ask
send
Mr.
it?
Dudley to fit in a Google Drive. It's the coolest thing.
Yeah,
Because
I
I'm
see
so fascinated by it. So, I talked to you about this yesterday. I told you I was so excited about it.
Yeah.
Super excited. So I will check with Mr. Dudley and see if he can send that to you guys so you can get in the Google Drive and see it. When he goes out and gets the pictures, like they go into the Google Drive and then we kind of have to sort through and figure out like where the good ones are, but like, I mean, you see like the fox, like legit hunting, like where he's like going into some brush and like pouncing, and I mean, we've seen some really cool stuff. So, yeah, very exciting stuff. And there's at least 3 different bucks back there that we've seen. So, yeah,
Monday coyotes, for instance.
I think there are 2 coyotes because the picture she sent is smaller than the coyote that we have on the camera back here. So, yeah, very, very exciting stuff.
Well, maybe in the
Thank you
spring,
so
you'll have the little pups out there. On your track person, you said he came in 4th in the state.
He did,
Is this a junior high state?
incorrect. Yes,
God,
Junior high state.
Down there.
Yep. Yeah, he went to Columbus and
I didn't even,
came in 4th. Amazing. I like that.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Other than just a phenomenal runner, he's a phenomenal young man.
Yeah.
Like just a phenomenal young man. Great kid.
So that thing that Mr. Baylog and Ms. Henderson were doing, like, what, like, so is that like a special, like, is that like a special class or is like, are they doing it with everybody?
Okay, no,
So I was like kind of lost, like, but who's actually doing it? It looked like a small group.
it is a small group. Mrs. Harrison's class is small. Mrs. Harrison's group, like I said, she has a multi-grade level, group of students, with some learning challenges. And Mr. Baylog gives up his planning period 1 day a week to go in and do that.
Okay, so it's her class.
Yes, it is her class.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's awesome.
per class, and he gives up his planning period one day a week to go in there and do that project with her class.
That's cool. Yeah, that's very cool.
It's super cool. And actually, he's an extortionist. He just got me for more boom whackers. I'm really gonna call you about tomorrow because he needs more of them. Because they want to do a thing with the 8th grade choir. He wants to teach them the Star Wars theme with boom whackers.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he talked to me about that today. So I'm gonna need about. So,
People take a lot of interest, but they're not starting to create their own music with the.
yeah, it's so cool.
If I can add to that part of the story, I stumbled across Mr. Bailoff doing the lesson on the Star Wars theme, the song we all know. And the kids all had their Chromebooks out and they were using, he is extortionist because as I stumbled across, I'll get to that part. They were using their Chromebooks and they were using a website because we don't have enough keyboards or really any keyboards. They were playing the music for the Star Wars theme on their Chromebooks as if they were a band.
Oh.
And then the other half of the other portion of it where the kids were doing that kind of call and response using the boom whackers. It really, you could really make out the music. I
Yeah.
didn't know it would sound so good on a Chromebook. And then he ended it with, you know, if we had a keyboard lab, I could do a lot more of this.
Yeah, of course. If we had.
And then did you say, you know, there's a lot of grants out there.
Yeah.
I would think it's a great idea for you to work on.
Music and performing arts.
Yeah.
I'll circle back around. with
Yeah,
that.
and you know, and there's somebody who would be happy to work with you on doing something. like
Oh,
that.
He's always working an angle with that, so he would definitely be willing to,
Yeah.
you know, to work with anyone on that, but he's always thinking of these really cool, creative, out of the box ideas. And like I said, he, you know, kind of hit me up for some boom whackers today. I'm like, we'll take care of it. We'll figure it out. We'll find it. We'll find you $100 for boom whackers. Because they're gonna do it at a concert. They're gonna do that at a concert, which I think that I find even more cool. So. Good stuff.
Good job.
And I just want to mention, like, both of these guys were out there, like, at the boardwalk last summer, and Mr. Johnson actually was really working, like, with Mr. Shoemaker to like build that boardwalk, which was super cool.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so everybody really appreciates your support from both you and Tina going way back, you know, just to even get it going is pretty cool. So thank
It
you.
just goes to show you what access these kids have.
Yeah, like right out
They don't
there.
have this access. It's a great
No.
thing to take part in and they're using it. They're going out there, science class, going out once a week now. First, they're cold, that might change, but they're using that boardwalk.
Yeah, that is really an unusual opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and that's awesome about those trail cameras too. And yeah, you know, they were like collecting all those photos. That's really cool.
It's fascinating. I'm obsessed with it, so. I'm obsessed.
I'd just like to thank you both for being good leaders for your school and for, you know, and it shows that all these teachers are being, or they're able to be creative because it must be that you're fostering the ability to do it. So, you know, maybe years past that hasn't been such an allowable thing. So now that we have a good curriculum that we can go with and then the freedom for them to try, it comes from a place of support, and I'm super thankful that you're able to do that. Both of you, thank you so much.
Well, that starts with you guys, so thank you.
Good job.
Process for.
There's no citizen participation.
No citizens, period.
You're free to leave. You don't have to stay.
Thank you.
You said that to them.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much, really.
Thank you guys.
And your son was at the school yesterday?
Yeah.
He's custodian now?
Yeah.
Just one part-time job or just?
Yeah. For now. Yeah. For now, he got to work with Katie yesterday.
Yeah. Your varsity was that good, so.
What? That's what he said. He said, what are you doing here? He's like, I'm here to work. What?
Yeah. Oh, thanks for. Appreciate it.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, guys.
Drive safely. Have a good evening. See you later.
Is it their way to tell the Board of Education how that's done? Anyway. Does anyone you wanna start with some Board of Education comments or?
Sure, I see, these are the things that you don't usually hear about or see, and those things, the things that happen, small group wise or not. Back in the day, they called it talented and gifted. Back in the day, and I had, and all the teachers had to volunteer. So I was canoeing and kayaking. I'm in the national park up there. And then we ended up going up and they gave me a bus. I got away so much. I went up to the top above Hiram Rapids, then Geauga County, and then came down to the farmland. I think we did more in just checking for fertilizer runoff, those types of things that were polluting the river at that level. Clear up in Geauga County, and then coming down, then we did pull out and at Hiram Rapids, we didn't come on down, but I mean, you get those kids involved and they, you know, especially this age, that's why I enjoyed my 8th grade years over my seniors and juniors. They just are very involved and this is what they need. And I just offered some money. So a little bit here, a little bit of there, and these kids, I love it. Okay, I'm done.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
I would like to go back a couple weeks and thank the voters who supported us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
that-
Yes, it seems so long. so
I
far in the
know
past,
it
like, oh my
does,
gosh, yes, we should all be like.
But really,
yes.
I think, you know,
Thanks, Sarah.
our community really showed us support and, just want to say thank you for that
Yes.
and, appreciate it a lot, so.
You know, the last couple of weeks have been just really difficult for the passing of the 2 children that were in the fire and their grandma, and it was really, I just wanted to thank the community church / community Christian, so it's called, or / community Christian, for helping us through such a difficult time and providing so much support. Pastor Joe Bruno is just amazing, and the whole staff there. They just came in and just showed these kids love, and the teachers and staff and these kids, and we were able to have a vigil for them on Friday night. Just didn't know what to expect, and it was just a really, really cool way to let them talk about these kids and be together. And so just wanted to say thank you for that support.
Can I say one thing? Just,
Yeah.
so Terry, thank you. Oh my gosh, we should have all been like, just thank you for passing the levy. It just does seem so long ago at this point, but just, that was incredible. Like, with very little fuss to get that support. So it was awesome. And then like, another thing, like with the passing of those 2 students, you know, like, it seems a little weird, but McDonald's has been so supportive in so many ways. That one right over Manchester Road, now they have the artwork like on the windows. For a local business, they've just been involved in so much stuff. And I just want to, I guess, call them out. I don't even know the managers or anybody there, but it just seems like they're always involved in something here.
They also
And that's
support lots of
really
different
nice.
organizations too, like they're always having a fundraiser for different sporting. events.
Exactly, they're always doing something, yes, or more, yeah, so. Yeah, I thought that was really good tell. Very, very upset, tragic situation, but how all those different organizations kind of keep the help.
I believe that McDonald's is owned by Tom Traco, which is a local franchise that owns, yeah, so I think they're based out of Uniontown, good folks. I worked at Tom Traco McDonald's. One thing that's not very well known that McDonald's does is each of our teachers, they give them a card for a free drink every single day. So they
Like every day,
they go and get a coffee every day.
Why?
They just show their card, they don't have to buy anything else. This just as a thank you for what they do.
So
Each of the teachers
Who's the
gets an
manager?
honor teacher day.
Who's the manager of this one over here? We know the owner, but who's managing?
I'd have to
That's
look
the
back
guy
at my
who did
email, you know, from the tragedy. one of the students worked there and had worked there for a year and a half. And we'd gotten some correspondence from them. I'd have to look back at the email. It's not on the top of my head, her name.
Yeah, that would be the person that.
Yes, so they give a drink to every teacher.
The old card.
Yeah, so I didn't know that either, but they just do so much. Sorry for time speaking out of line, yeah.
You were totally in line. In line. Thank you so much. Okay, ready for the next part?
I am. I don't know if any of other rest of you got a little kind of worked up when you saw the picture that the middle school ended with. It had the temporary chiller in the background. I don't know if that brought any bad memories back. I might have to ask you to Photoshop that out for next time. It's a great picture about that chiller. Item 3 there, student or superintendent recommendations. Item A, certified personnel. Recommendations, number 1, is recommended the board grant the following supplemental contracts for the 24-25 school year per exhibit S1. Non-staff contracts are contingent upon receipt of a clear record of the required background check. And that asterisk transfers over into the exhibit so that you see each person that will get that will need to satisfy that as the asterisk, just for future reference. Number 2, supplemental coaching contract 25-26. So this is for next football season, next year. It's recommended that the board grant the following supplemental coaching contract for the 25-26 school year to Gary Kanega as varsity head coach at the contracted amount. Mr. Kanega stepped in and finished the season for us, laid the foundation for what I think will be a good program. He's an excellent role model. He holds the kids to high expectations, and I look forward to seeing what he does as he builds the program going forward. Number 3, supplemental contracts mentors 24-25. It's recommended that the board grant the following supplemental contracts for mentorship for the 24-25 school year. And as you know, we talk about this each year. This is part of the required resident educator training or licensure that all educators must go through. All new ones.
Is there a motion?
Sorry, those are the items under certified personnel.
Is there a motion to approve these recommendations?
So moved.
Second,
Is there discussion?
Just a question about the football coaches that, can we do that?
Yes,
Without,
you're allowed to, not many places do it, but you can even do a multi-year contract for a coach if you want.
no, but I mean, can you, like, put someone into a position without interviewing or going through the process?
Well, we discussed about it, and we felt that his interview process was the 5 weeks that he finished. We were really excited with the work that he's done.
I just wonder.
do you mean, Terry, can you do it without opening it up to like just
Yeah,
open?
yeah, can you not
That's what you're
post that, or, is that not,
So that's the question.
that's my question, is aren't you required to post that and go through the process? I don't know.
If it was a certified teaching position, our contract would dictate that, but there's no language in the contract that requires that.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler,
Yes.
Mrs. Pat,
Yes,
and Mrs. McGraw.
Yes.
Item B, classified personnel. Recommendation number 1. Substitutes, it's recommended the board add the following to the approved classified substitute list, and that's all of the items for number 1.
Follow that separately.
Yeah, I was stopping there. Because, this is where we have to have a motion.
Oh, is there a-
Make a motion.
Yes,
Josh? And then Dan?
and I'll say,
Discussion.
Dan? Who's the second? Oh, discussion. This,
Same for me.
I'm just gonna ask about Carson. How old is Carson?
17. He loves to clean things.
Okay.
Do you need your car detailed to make it look like a brand new car? How many 17-year-olds that want to use Beamer Christmas? So, and just to say, there's also another 17-year-old that also works as a janitor and, really nice kids, so awesome.
Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Bowser.
Yes.
Cutler,
Yes.
Mrs. Pat,
Yeah,
Mrs. McBride.
Abstain.
Continuing on under classified personnel. Long-term substitute secretary, it's recommended the board approve the following as a long-term secretarial substitute at CHS contingent upon receipt of clear record of the required background check. And that's for Ms. Bailey, and this is from November 13th through December 20th. She'll be filling in for a team. Number 2 is retirement resignation. It's recommended the board accept the resignation due to retirement of the following employee for the position indicated. Craig Ilovich, 8-hour custodial helper from CMS, effective 11/30/24. I'll personally miss Greg. He's kind of like, he comes through the mod that I'm in about the same time every day, and he's kind of my alarm clock, that it's getting towards the end of the day. When I see him, I know the day's about over. Fantastic person, and we'll miss him. Number 3, change in hours, buildings, positions. It's recommended that the board approve a change in the hours, buildings, and or positions for the following employees. So this is for Katie Figurus, effective 12/2/24, to move from 4-hour CMS custodial helper to 8-hour CMS custodial helper, and she'll be taking Mr. Ilovich's position. Number 4 is employments. Recommended the board employ the following for the positions indicated, contingent upon receipt of a clear record of the required background checks and drug screening. And that's for Ms. Albright to fill one of the vacancies that we've had since the beginning of the year as our 2.5-hour CES lunch recess assistant, effective November 12th. And those are all of the items under classified personnel.
There a motion to approve these recommendations?
Moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question about substitutes. And how, what's the difference between someone employed by ESC or employed by Summit County or employed by Coventry Schools?
So we have our teaching substitutes, the ESC goes through the personnel process. So they post for the positions, they collect the paperwork, and then we approve that final list. Might cut the process, but we don't, they approve the list and provide the substitutes to us. I got the process right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that would be the stable for the race, for the actual race.
So are you asking?
They get all the people, and then we would put them in the spots.
Well, it just seems to me, and I might be wrong, tell me if I am, we have 3 different types of substitutes. Substitutes that we hire, substitutes that are hired under Summit County, and then evidently 2 that are hired under the ESC.
So
So some
our teaching substitutes come through the ESC. The long-term substitutes, are we hiring them directly or we do?
Yes.
Okay, so we're hiring the long-term substitutes directly. So those are the subs that show up every day, just on the regular. And then the rest of the subs that we put out there that a teacher is going to be absent for a day, those substitutes come from the ESC. And then we have classified substitutes that we provide. So secretary, those we hire as well. So the teacher substitutes for an as needed basis come from the ESC.
In addition, we also have LEA assigned individuals. And they are employed as full-time employees through Educational Service Center, but their assigned placement is the district. But they're not considered subs, they're considered assigned.
And then we also have employees like our the alternative program here at the high school, at the middle school and elementary, that they're hired to the ESC as well.
Yeah,
So there's
those are
those
the
3
assigned
individuals. Those are what you're talking about.
Okay.
Look good too. Are you more confused now?
Do I look like it? Is that?
I'm a little.
Okay, good. Sorry.
No. So we do, yes,
Okay.
get people from different locations.
And what is the benefit of that? Why do we do that?
I'm not sure the benefit on the substitute front. Is it just managing the list?
Oh,
This is the
yes,
first
they
district that I-
handle all the recruiting for substitutes, and they manage I believe the software that they use to find where, openings are at each day. And that's communicated and managed all through Summit County. So Summit County and the ESC are the same place. Some people just refer to it as the ESC, some people call it Summit County, but it is the same.
And
What
we
about-
used to do our own, right?
Substitutes,
Yeah.
it's been a long time, but
For a long time, like years, but we
years,
used to do it like,
yes.
and then we had our own list and then somebody would be calling around. So it just kind of cuts out all of that.
Somewhat, we still have someone who oversees that and manages to make sure those positions are filled, but, it's just a more efficient system to do it through the county.
You get favorites that like to come here. And so those would be the one you might call before the ESC gets involved. But you just go, Dan, can you come over tomorrow?
Yeah, but I don't think
This
we do
is
that
what-
anymore, right?
No, I'm sorry.
You can't, you
That's
can't,
not what we're doing anymore.
they don't do that anymore. So if you have a favorite person that you like.
You can request through.
Yeah,
the,
but you don't call them directly.
No, no,
Oh, no,
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 nobody
no.
contacts them directly.
Good.
That I'm aware of, either.
In one, from a management perspective, I could say is a benefit would be, if we have a substitute that maybe doesn't perform to our expectations, then we just call the ESC and say, we no longer want to use this person.
Okay.
And then we're pretty much done. We don't have any further, employment actions that we need to take. We just tell them,
Do we have a permanent sub at each building?
one at each building and two at the high school. And then the second one at the high school floats, based on need. If the needs in the elementary or middle school, they can move from here to the middle school.
And what's the benefit to them? They just get,
They know they have a position each day rather than picking up jobs or waiting for a phone call in the middle of the night.
And they're on with benefits then.
No,
They're just,
they're at-will employees. That's the right term.
And then if there's more than 4 positions available open for a day, then we call it ESC to say, hey, send us 4 more teachers because there's somebody out. So we have 4
That we rely on. And then,
everyday subs.
yeah,
And then there's also long-term subs for someone who's on maternity leave or something like that.
but in none of those you get benefits. That person would not get benefits.
not a.
Even
I
if
don't
you
know
were
any
long term
substitutes.
and you were every day.
or sick days or anything, they don't get any of that.
I don't believe so. I don't think the ESC offers that.
I wouldn't do that. I'm sorry.
I think it goes here over 120
it depends on the person's situation.
Contract.
You know, long term.
Yeah.
That's not for counts a year. I knew a guy that never got a job and substituted for 30 some years. And he's got a retirement and the whole routine, but nobody had ever hired him. He just always went in for a sub, and you sub 120 days out of your 180 or 183. You're eligible for that year of retirement.
Does everyone make the same amount? Every type of sub?
I don't,
It would depend on the school.
the teacher subs,
Teachers make the same
but the
day rate,
classified would be
but the
based on the
classified
position.
ones are different based on position. I believe.
Now during COVID, we had a little bump
It's really different.
because we need teachers. And so we had a little bump and we gave people raises to get them to come.
So does that help you at all? Or no?
No, and I'm going to abstain, just to say I'm not mad, but I'm abstaining because I don't understand.
Okay,
And I don't want to vote on something that I don't understand.
okay, that's good.
And I see some issues with, but not, I'm not mad. I'm not going to vote for it against.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Is there a,
Like which item? Sorry, now I'm like
yeah,
confused too.
which items from Summit County?
Are you talking about the next list? Are you talking about going down to like the next items, to C list? Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to figure out, like, I understand the question you're asking, but I don't like, as a general question, but none of those people.
Well, there's a motion on the floor. And I asked a question.
Okay, but that was for the classified personnel,
Okay,
but none of those are Summit, really have anything to do with Summit County SC. Those are all just internal, I think, right? Or-
Right,
Those are
I'm
all
asking what we have. And we do have some that are in those areas. These might not be, but there are some that are, and that was my question.
Okay, but.
So I don't feel like I want to vote on that based on my not understanding.
Okay, so I'm just trying to, I'll just drop it in a minute, but so do you understand all these were, I think, right, we're on B. Correct? Okay,
we're on classified personnel.
that's what I
Yes,
thought.
that's what we're thinking about.
I voted yes. And then
I have not called roll
I'm
yet.
not called roll at all on that.
No, you made the motion, Josh, second,
Okay,
and we're discussing.
okay, so all these, this is all like internal to the district. So all of these are school. And this has nothing to do whatsoever with the educational services center,
Okay,
this section.
This is just us.
So what's the confusion? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what you don't
it's okay.
understand.
I'm not gonna put a lot of time into it here because it's not the right spot to do that. I'm just saying, that was my question. I'd rather understand it before I approve or disapprove of it. Maybe it's better. I don't know. Maybe we'd rather have these. I don't know. But that was my question, was trying to understand. So
I respect that.
I'm,
Well, so if we just, the sake of voting, the first one is a sub, that is going to be hired in to take a position of secretary or short time. And then the resignation of, Greg and then the replacement of Katie are all regular positions. And then we're hiring Jillian to be, a new lunch aid person. So these particular 4 things don't really play into who's on.
Terry, is your concern number 4?
I don't know.
I mean, anything can
No.
change at any time like
The
this.
lunch refund? No,
Okay.
it's not.
Can I take the vote?
Sure.
Is there no more questions or discussion? Good, okay. Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. Bowser,
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler,
Yes.
Mrs. Pat,
Abstain.
and Mrs. McGraw.
Yes.
Item C, other business items, recommendations, number 1, proposal Summit Educational Service Center. It's recommended the board approve the proposal from the Summit Educational Service Center for up to 10 school psychologist evaluations to cover the maternity leave, Emma McBride. Each evaluation will be $1,000 and will be no more than $10,000. This one, we are proposing as an insurance policy for the district. Once students are start into the special needs identification process, there are strict timelines. And our concern was that we potentially could get into a position where multiple kids come into the pipeline and we have to meet those timelines, and our 2 internal remaining psychologists may not be able to manage that. We picked 10 evaluations as we thought, based on the time that Ms. McBride was going to be out. That was worst case scenario. Our hope is to not use any of them, but we potentially, could have a few as kids are identified and need to go through the process. Number 2 is agreement with Juan Door Corporation. It's recommended the board approve with a 5-year agreement with Juan Door Corporation for the maintenance, preventive maintenance of fire doors at Coventry High School at an annual cost of $958, effective November 2024 through November 2029. I talked to Mr. Olson today about this contract. And he said his concern in needing something along this lines are the pocket fire doors that we have in this building. When the building opened, he was not given any training except for basically turning them on and off and minor troubleshooting. So he is supportive of this so that he can also learn in the future to make some of the repairs himself. He'll be going around the district with the technicians when they're here to oversee what they're doing and learn from them to potentially take over the process himself. Number three is revised policies and procedures. It's recommended the board complete the second reading of the revised and or deleted policies and procedures for approval per Exhibit S2. And nothing has changed there from the first reading. Number four is accept grants. It is recommended the board accept the following grant. As a 24-25 award from the Bureau of Workers' Compensation for a school safety and security grant. And this is to offset the cost of replacing the carpet at Coventry Elementary Theater. Number five is accept donations. It's recommended the board accept the following donation. It's a $500 donation for a pizza party for the entire elementary school provided by the VFW. The elementary school invited the members of the VFW to a veterans assembly, and they so much appreciated it that they wanted to give back and give the kids a pizza party. So they called Mr. Savage and said, "We're giving you a pizza party, pick a date." And they're going to pick a date and have a pizza party as a thank you for their program. And number six, deletion of inventory. Pupil Services Departments recommended the board approve the following deletion of inventory from the Pupil Service Department. And these would be electronic devices that are no longer useful. And it's just as a note, we take these and we e-recycle these. So they go to e-waste. And those are all of the items under other business.
Is there a motion to approve?
So,
Second,
Any discussion?
on the board policies, I was not here to vote on the first reading. Does that make a difference if I vote on the second reading? Does it not matter?
To read them?
Yes. Yeah.
So technically, by law, you don't even have to do multiple readings. It's just a benefit to the community. So you, okay, I think you'd be okay.
All right. Just wanted to make sure.
Then there will be one more that'll be the approval of all of them.
No, this
This
is
kind of
this
separate.
is the second.
Approval of the second reading.
Sometimes they do 3 readings. That might be what you.
In the elementary theater, do they have the carpet scheduled? Yeah,
I would have to double check and go back.
I'm just curious.
I thought there was some work to be done over Christmas break, but I want to verify that. It's not on record with that.
The one door thing going back to the $958. Is he gonna learn a whole lot over 5 years how to use the doors?
He was hopeful to learn faster than that.
We will locked into a 5-year contract.
That was the cheapest amount, cheapest way to get it, I believe, was the answer to that question. Not knowing what's involved, I think that's the unknown. I mean, Mr. Olson's pretty swift. Right. Expect him to pick up on it in a year, but I hate to put that amount of pressure on him for a safety device. I want to make sure he's definitely in tune with that if we take that on.
Any other discussion?
I have a question, but I just want to say, like, Kelly Kendrick has kind of come like the queen of getting these outside grants, so that's pretty cool. That she keeps looking for these things. I don't know if somebody's helping her, but it's awesome. She's bringing in a lot of outside money to help us do this stuff. That carpet over there is gross. That is a good way to put it. Yes. So, yeah, that's really cool that that's going to be replaced with something better, anything better. So Kelly's been doing a great job, I think, of that.
And they've also applied again for the Andrew Lloyd Webber grant.
Did they try again?
I did the letter of support for that. So, you know, it's a huge grant, super competitive, but the worst they can tell us is no for the sound system.
I also did a letter of recommendation for that. Maybe you don't. Give us some. Awesome. All right, any other discussion?
I have one thing about both of those. I think we have to really get some strict guidelines for what's allowed to be done, like in the carpet. I remember the first time a whole big jug of red punch was spilled in there. I think we have to limit that to water to drink in there. I mean, some of that just ruins stuff like that. And the sound system, every time we've had work done on or something, someone's allowed to go in and play with it to do warm-up music for practice or something. And I think we've got to come to a point where we take care of that stuff better and set limitations and rules and then stick to them or lock them up or something. I don't know, but we're just destroying sometimes good things we get. So if we are lucky enough to get those, I think we should really guard those. So.
Well, I think we're getting covered, right? She got the grant.
Right, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I think it should be a hard and fast rule that you don't serve punch and things like that in there. Just my opinion.
Better be safe than sorry, right?
The rule at my house was you had to have lemonade, because if you spilled lemonade, you didn't.
Clear for the-
But definitely something to consider. Okay, is there any other discussion? Call roll?
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Fauser,
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler,
Yes.
Mrs. Pat,
Yes,
and Mrs. McGraw.
Yes.
Several items this evening under the treasurer's recommendations. Item 1, it is recommended that the board approve and place on file the October 24 financial report and reconciliation for Exhibit T1. Item 2, it is recommended that the board approve the POs over 5,000 per Exhibit T2. Please note that there was a last-minute request to add a purchase order to the PO list over 5,000, so I put a copy of that updated request in front of you this evening for you to review. The last-minute item is item 2, which is A&R Security Solutions. It's for our fire panel project. There was a change order and something involving a need to adjust the positions or how high from the ground or something involving that of our pool stations. And there's that cost associated with that change order. Item 3, it is recommended that the board approve the renewal of the travelers prime policy with scheduled positions insurance for the positions of board president, superintendent, and treasurer for a term of 3 years, starting January 1st, 2025 to January 1st, 2028, at a total cost of $1,706 per Exhibit T3. Item 4, it is recommended that the board approve the annual renewal and payment of the workers' compensation policy year 2025 requirement, beginning January 1st, 2025 through January 1st, 2026. At an estimated annual rate of $26,970. Payment is due by December 23rd, 2024, and if paid in full, the amount will be reduced by 2% per Exhibit T4. Number 5, it is recommended that the board approve the 25-26 alternative tax budget according to Ohio Revised Code 5705.28 and Ohio Revised Code 5705.30 per Exhibit T5. Item 6, it is recommended that the board approve the resolution authorizing the advancement of local taxes by the county fiscal office in accordance with section 321.34 of the Ohio Revised Code per Exhibit T6. Item 7, it is recommended that the board approve the resolution updating the district's section 125 cafeteria plan and general procedures in accordance with the section 125 IRS requirements and regulations per Exhibit T7. And lastly, item 8, it is recommended that the board approve the district's November 2024 5-year forecast with accompanying assumptions for fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 29 per Exhibit T.
Is there a motion to approve these recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So I have a couple of questions. I'm just gonna ask them, you don't know them here, so I should have asked earlier, but I just didn't get to it. So the Camp Noah trip, is that the trip they just went on that they just talked about, right?
Yes.
That's that one.
Yes,
Okay, like students paid for that?
partially,
And then we
yes,
got a lot of donations, I know, for that too, right?
that's correct.
Okay, I just didn't know if
That's
that
the
was,
total cost, but it
One big
involves
one, too.
all that stuff.
and then the local, the advancement of local taxes. So I understand like doing it and often, having it like available, but this is a really basic question. Do we still do like get an advance? Are we still getting those advances?
Yes,
Okay, we still request the advance and get it,
yes,
even with our current financing and being in such good shape. and
Yes.
everything. We still use that.
oh, 100%,
Okay.
that's
I
our
didn't
main
know.
source of funding. So the advancement really is them providing us payments as soon as the money's available, instead of waiting till the very end of the collection year.
Yeah. Okay, and I thought we were waiting. Oh,
No. we're
whatever,
not.
I just. So we're still doing the incremental
Yes,
drop it.
yes,
Okay, thank you.
So follow-up question on that, on the advancements. Do they charge anything for doing the advances? Like, do they take a fee? If we were to wait till all of the taxes are collected at the end of the year, semi-annual or whatever, would we potentially get more? You know,
they charge, I believe, the same amount of fees.
okay, so there's no difference. Okay, then yeah, get the money as quick as we can, no matter what.
I do have a short presentation for the forecast if you want to see it, but it's not necessary, and it's up to you.
Was that on this motion or was that on a separate motion, the forecast? Oh,
It's on.
well, then if you put it together and put the time into it, I'd like to see it. Unless you don't want to do it. I mean, I've looked it over quite a bit, but.
Yeah, it's interesting when this. I shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
No.
See that little box with the air. Kind of weird, when such a good forecast and I was kind of routine. Yeah. I feel strange, like I'm trying to give you a presentation. Like, it's just. Yeah. It's just kind of routine now after so many years or so. Craziness.
Thank you for our voters for saying yes.
Yeah, I mean, so you're like, wow, other sheep.
Are we gotta talk about the government's doing away with the Department of Education at the federal level?
No.
And
I was gonna
money covered to the state level. I was just wondering that. What are the? It's another day.
I'm just saying right now, they're recording.
Yeah, if there's ever something that's right.
That's a if, when.
Yeah, exactly.
When you think you're American, this is like this. And it really shouldn't that much difference.
Yeah.
Really significant, like,
Okay, that's not right. Nothing to do with it.
judicial business part.
No, so they are recorded, but not, and then it filters like a. Stuff as well. Business meetings. And then it filters through ChatGPT and provide a summary of bullets and to-do lists. It's crazy. So much fun. Yeah.
It's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Like when it comes out, like June, like.
Yeah. You can, it's called plot, PLED. Attach it to your phone and send it to the full conversation as well. That picks up your cell phone. Super. Summary.
Well, it was on desktop, and I-
Also, other just gives you balance, gives you full transfer. It's crazy.
We do that with some software. And whatever we know, it's all this much. I did a big research project on that. But we still. Nerdy.
Still. I forget. That was really other stuff doesn't apply.
Well, what if we have, I mean, everybody looked at this, right? So we can still vote on it, but then we have like a presentation at the next.
Sure, I mean,
Let me say that, I don't want you to feel like,
yeah, it's
yeah. This is very.
it's under her profile now, and I don't have her password, so I can't access it.
It's fine.
Okay, that's all right.
Can you just walk us through
Sorry.
the main points?
Even had a voiceover.
You gotta send it.
Can I send us the link and then we'll.
Can't send it.
Oh, is it too late? Can you share it through Google Drive?
Pull it up.
You wanna try to go through me? Through Dropbox, I assume.
Yes, do you have Dropbox on yours?
I mean, is it on the treasurer Dropbox? Can we go through it through there?
I'll try to, edit it,
Oh,
so I can put it on. How's that?
That's good.
Okay, where were we? My apologies. Okay, I'll just highlight some things about the forecast.
That'd be great.
So in front of you, you should have a copy of the actual forecast itself, and then our notes and assumptions. And the notes and the assumptions information outlines each line item within the forecast, what's behind it, some information regarding how it's may be determined, and what's all involved. So, to highlight just a few things, starting with fiscal year 24, we ended that year stronger than we had projected. So we had a nice ending cash balance and carryover to start fiscal year 25. For revenue, you know, our forecast is really kind of divided into three main categories, if you will, which includes revenue, expenditures, and then the balance between those two fiscal systems. So for revenue, our sources of revenue include general property tax, public utility, unrestricted grants and aid, which is state funding. And as you know, in 2022, the state changed the funding system and is now, the funding formula is now in place where they fund where students are educated, and there's no longer a open enrollment funding that goes with the open enrollment students. So we don't receive that influx in like we used to, but at the same time, we don't have money going out for students who go elsewhere either. Restricted grants and aids involves those funding sources from the state that have regulations assigned to them or associated with them. This includes things like gifted funding, student wellness, career technical education. These funding sources, there are rules and regulations we must follow in order for us to maintain that funding year after year.
Can I ask, like, so that grant that Kelly just got for the garden,
Yes,
which one where would that fall?
all other operating revenue.
Okay, it has not, okay, thank you.
So that's where kind of like the melting pot of all those other things go, whether it's student fees or donations that are given to the district, competitive grant awards, things of that nature fall in that line item. The state share of local property taxes just above that. That is the money we receive from the state. It is the reimbursement for the property rollback credits that our property owners qualify for. So they get those tax credits. And even though they get those tax credits, we don't lose out on them as a district. The state reimburses us for those credits. So that's a really good thing. That's from our levies that were approved prior to 2013, I think. Any levy after that, you can no longer get the property rollback credits associated with it. So if we went for a new levy or something down the road, that's something to keep in mind that our homeowners would pay the full tax rate. Okay, moving on. So for this year, we have projected that we will receive $24.7 million in revenue this year. And when you look out across the next several years of the forecast, so pretty consistent revenue line. In 2029, there is a drop in revenue, and that is because that is when the first half collection of the next emergency levy or next renewal levy, if it should not pass, it will miss out on that first half of that collection every year. Does that make sense? Okay. So moving down to expenditures. You know, the expenditures, we have several main categories, including personnel services, which is salaries. Everyone's salaries comes from that line item. Employee benefits, which includes healthcare coverage, retirement payments, and things like workers' compensation, Medicaid, all that is included in that employee benefit line item, with the biggest cost, of course, going to healthcare coverages and the premium payments. Then we have purchase services, supplies and materials, capital outlay, governmental and debt service, which is the payment of our House Bill 268. you may all know it better as our modular payments. And I'm happy to point out in the forecast that that last payment will be in 2028, and we will be done with it. Although I'm looking into the potential of what happened.
Great.
And then we have our last line, which is other objects, and it's those things that fall outside of those particular areas. Something that may fall in there would be like legal services or maybe any like board related items. They have a special category, stuff like that. So those are things outside of very cut and dry areas of expense. I wanted to note for you that, of course, personnel services is more than what it was last year. We see an increase there, and that's really due to a couple of factors. One, because our staff, every year, this is gonna go up a little bit because one, as they get more experience, they move up their salary schedules, more education, that increases salaries, as well as we just negotiated a 3-year contract with our teaching staff. So negotiated wages for the teachers, as well as the last year of the current contract with our support staff. So all those increases are in there, and then those are projected out accordingly in the forecast. Purchase services is significantly higher, I would say, than last year, and even more of an increase is the capital outlay line item. And the reason why those two are considerably higher than what was spent last year is because there are specific projects that are planned for this school year that fall within those two line items. Some examples of those projects include, well, the track replacement and the playground, which we've already done, as you know, but those numbers are in there. We are also looking at this year correcting or establishing some seating and access ramps and addressing some access inside the high school for to meet ADA requirements and guidelines for some of our students who need access to our facilities. And so there's some costs involved with putting those things in place. In addition, we have budgeted for an SRO. It's going to be about half a year this year, once everything is in place, if that should go through, as the board approves that. And looking at a full year implementation of SRO moving forward each year after in the forecast.
So which line would that be under? Is
That's
that
a purchase service. In addition to those, the board has already approved the network upgrade for Coventry High School. So that cost is involved in there, as well as the replacement of desktop computer. I don't know if they're particularly desktop computers, I call it that, but computers or technology devices for Coventry Elementary School, including a replacement plan for smart boards at that building. There's also the potential of a painting project that would involve the outside of Coventry Elementary School, the ceiling in the middle school gym, and the small modular unit behind middle school. So these things I have are examples of the conversations and work that we have been doing as district with the different department heads, working with them, asking them, what are our priorities, what needs fixed, what do we need to get addressed. And so they put together three-year plans, which kind of ended up being 4 to 5 year plans based on how much work needs done. An example of that is for this year, curriculum and instruction, really, they have requested a small amount of money in comparison to the overall budget, which is about $8,000. But looking at 26 and 27, they need to do extensive readoptions of different content areas that include online access to programs. And those are about $200,000 in the first year and about $150,000 in the second. Any questions about all of that?
No, sorry, I'm just laughing. Like, I still remember when we got rid of those textbooks like a few years ago and they were like. Social studies like 20 years old or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, 200, that sounds like so much, but it's like, it's really nice that we're kind of,
Very.
yes. Yes, and up to date, and hopefully we'll never again be like getting rid of textbooks that we've been using when the world has changed.
It's hard to believe,
You know.
but it's been 6 years since they purchased some of those.
Was that really?
Yeah.
So the theater carpet replacement will come off of that, right?
No, I included the grant amount, so I reduced how much we originally projected for the theater carpet down to our district share, which is 20,000.
Oh, so will we have that expense?
Yes,
Oh,
because the
okay.
grant is, I think the district has to contribute 20,000 and then the
Oh.
grant covers 40.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
And that is included in the capital outlay line item.
Okay,
So this is kind of, I mean, it's related to the budget because you mentioned it, but like, but not necessarily directly, but that painting the elementary school. The outside of that thing. The parts of it where it's like literally like, the whole wall is like cracked and you can literally,
Sure.
if you wanted to, you can just grab it and like you could
Right.
probably, I've never done it, but it looks like you just pull off a huge section of something.
yeah.
You know.
I just didn't realize we had a portion to pay of the carpet.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the carpet, I'm just talking,
Yeah,
so when
okay.
that goes forward with painting,
Sure.
assuming it does. Is that gonna all like be addressed as part of it, or is it literally just painting over those huge cracks in the walls and stuff? Do you know, or is it not?
We haven't got any further than creating the master list of projects. We haven't got into those details yet. We just went with what it would cost to paint the building. Without getting into, if it was a project we wanted to go forward with, then we would look at what that looks like, so we could give you a total cost.
Yeah.
So these are just estimates at this point. Best case, best we could do
And
estimates.
Gary probably knows about that, but it's just like, if some of those walls on the outside.
Whatever that stucco is or whatever, I don't know what to
Yes,
call it.
exactly. It looks like you can just almost just pull it off. It's kind of
We fixed
nuts.
some of that near the front doors, 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, but that whole wall,
Yeah,
like by
it's
where
bad.
the old fitness center was.
Water damage, something.
Yeah. Anyways, okay, so that's not even worked out, the details of what all
No, we were just trying to get to just a
basic, like. so
total maintenance.
So it's like,
Here's everything we think we need to do over the course of 5 years. Just so we have it in one place and we can start planning and strategically thinking ahead.
so kind of, I mean, Josh, you said it a couple of times, so without like spending a lot of money on that building, I'm not necessarily a big fan of it either, but if we're gonna do it, I mean, it seems kind of weird to just paint it. Without fixing some of those serious like problems over there too.
Let's do it
Unless
right.
it's millions of dollars. Yeah, it seems like if they do it, let's, yeah, exactly, let's try and do it right.
The gentleman that came in that fixed around, it looks like he has the knack for it because it looks pretty decent. It blended in pretty well. But I don't know if that's that large of a scale.
Exactly, I mean, it's that whole side, which is bigger than like an outdoor like movie
It's a
screen.
bigger project, it's more structure. really,
Exactly.
than Cosmetic.
I know. Okay,
Any other questions about expenditures? And then moving down to kind of the last set of numbers in the forecast, you know, these are really, really important numbers to kind of guide us as we make decisions on projects and what we can move forward with and what we cannot move forward with. I know everyone does get very happy and is excited to celebrate that our bottom line, the line 15.010 looks very strong and positive across the forecast, which is true and great. But as the treasurer, I focus on line 6.010. And for me, what that means is that's our balance every year. That's where we need to make sure we're not spending more than what we bring in any given year. So living within our means is how I look at that and making sure that we continue to try to do that. Because as you look out across the forecast, we have projected a pretty strong year end in fiscal year 25. and 26. But then starting in fiscal year 27, we start to overspend what we're bringing in. And we've dealt with this for a very, very long time. It is actually an improvement over May 2024's projection. So that's good. And that means we're doing the right things and we're moving in the right direction and we're maintaining that, walking that line, if you will, between being happy about the money we have and excited, but also not overdoing it. So I think that's really important to point out and to note that as decisions are made, we don't just look at this year, but think about, okay, what is the long-term impact of these decisions on our forecast and on the future for the district.
Anyone? Questions? Okay. Is there any questions on anything else in the list of things or? There's a lot of things on your list of things.
In case you didn't notice, I do want to point out that in our monthly financial report this month, I've added a couple more pages. I've included the profit loss, the kind of profit loss summary for the Wells Fargo funds as well as Star Ohio. So you can see how that money is backing every month. So that's now included at the front of that report.
Any other discussion on items 1 through 8? Oh,
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Southern,
Yes.
Mr. Hostetler,
Yes.
Mrs. Pat,
Yes.
and Mrs. McGraw.
yes.
Okay, and is there a reason for executive sessions?
There's nothing.
None?
I don't. Are we able to adjourn?
I believe so.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I believe so.
That part.
Oh, so Terry has this stuff.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Awesome.
Favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
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 Yes.